Greetings from Stoudt's Breweries, one of the landmark breweries in the world of beer. When this place opened in 1987, it kicked off an amazing rebirth of craft beer in the Philadelphia region and across America. Just as importantly, it was also the home of Carol Stoudt, America's first female brewmaster since the Prohibition. Well, now in February, Carol has announced her retirement. So what happened here and what happens next? We're going to sit down and talk with Carol Stoudt in this special edition of What's Brewing.
After teaching school and raising 5 children, I thought, do I want to go back to teaching school or do I want to do something to support my husband's business? So yes, support my husband's business because I didn't want to be a line cook with him. I did the research along with my husband. We went to visiting breweries in Ottawa, Canada, like the Brick Brewery was one of my favorite. And then I heard about Charlie Papazian's conference in Portland, Oregon. And prior to that, he had a pre-conference tour that went up to the Pacific Northwest, visiting small brew pubs. We went to hop fields, and on that bus were like predominantly men or people looking to get into the business, but a lot of talking about stainless steel and pipes and things like beer styles, mead, Weizen beer stouts, things I've never heard about.
Never had these.
I was not a beer drinker.
This is the mid-'80s that we're talking about.
84 to be exact.
Okay, and at that point there were, in the Philadelphia area, I don't think there was any breweries right in Philadelphia. We were starting to see the beginnings of craft beer coming in to the city, but the idea of starting a brewery in Philadelphia was completely unheard of, it seems.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Schmidt's was just going out of business.
Exactly.
I bought cooperage from them for $2 for a
Really?
half barrel.
Wow, that was the last brewery in Philadelphia. I think they went out in '85. So.
Okay, yes, and I started research '84.
Wow, so it took that long because you opened in '87, right?
It opened in '87, right.
Why did it take 3 years really to get it open then?
Well, money, because the money I was a school teacher and then I hadn't taught for so many years, and the money that my husband couldn't give me money because it would come from an establishment with a liquor license. You know those Pennsylvania laws,
Right.
3-tier system? So I went to 3 banks, refused twice, and then the third one gave me a small loan, and then I invited my children's godparents for dinner and asked them, anyone want to loan me some money to start a brewery? 2 of the ladies did give a small amount and later bought them out. And then we have a home in Adamstown, and we got an appraise, and my husband could give me half the money of the value of the home. That's how I started, with under $200,000, which wasn't a lot in today's world.
Not in today's world, but that's quite a chunk.
It was okay then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did the fact that you were a woman, and we should say you were the first female brewmaster in America since the Prohibition, did it hurt your efforts to open, or did it help it in any way?
Well, it hurt in this area as far as getting a loan. Opening a brewery in this area, which a lot of people don't drink, and there's a lot of people against drinking. Also, they thought that beer would produce horrible smells into the air and would be a negative. And a lot of people said, why does Eddie Stoudt have his wife doing this? There was a lot of that locally.
Ed has a German background, I believe.
Oh yes, both of us do.
You do both,
yes.
Okay. So Stoudt's sort of latched on to German beer styles from the
Right.
very beginning. Was that the plan from the very start, that you would go German?
Well, since he would be my first customer,
Okay.
It had to be definitely a Helles beer because it's favorite style of beer. And also, we live in an area rich with a lot of people who came, Pennsylvania Dutch, but a lot of them came from Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, but heavily southern Germany. So the Helles, the Munich style, would fit in very well, I thought.
A lot of people point at the Helles and also the Pils as beers that sort of set the tone for those styles in the whole East Coast, and maybe even America in general, that you brought back really full-flavored German-style beers.
Right.
Is that something, I know you must be proud of it, but when did you realize that boy, there's other people around here at Victory or
Sly
Fox who are making,
Trogs.
exactly, making
Right.
great Pilsner beers, that was because of you?
I know Bill Kowaleski once said, I must have been crazy, you know, to open up in Downingtown. Well, come on, I like competition and I like friends. So being alone in those early years was difficult because no one knew what craft, micro, hops, malt, freshness. They didn't know those words. So they had to be taught, so there comes my education.
Well, I think that was one of the reasons why this brewery became popular, but in the very beginning was that it seemed to be a destination.
Right.
People were starting to hear that there was this new kind of beer out in Pennsylvania Dutch country, and it was worth it to drive out here. Did you have the idea that from the very beginning that this would become sort of a destination brewery for beer drinkers?
Well, I was hoping it would be. I was hoping we would put Adamstown on the map. We had Ballman's Hat Factory, but now let's come on, a place that you can have a nice dinner, drink some great beers, go to the festivals and hear music and dance and just have a good, what we call Gemütlichkeit. Good time.
You say that. I could never pronounce it.
How about spelling it?
That's even harder. So a German-style brewery, a destination brewery. What other goals did you have from the very start for this brewery?
Well, I always told everyone I want to sell. I was draft only for the first 2 years. Think about how difficult that would be. I wanted to sell beer just in Berks and Lancaster County. I wanted to make Stout's Gold really popular in the local market.
So, and that became, as I said, a standard bearer style. Is that beer as popular today as it was at the beginning, or
It's number one.
It's still number one.
And we don't do anything with it. It just sells. I think it sells at beer distributors, and a lot of local accounts use the Golden Lager as their, you know, palate cleanser among all the hazy IPAs.
That's good to hear. It's a beer that I love to see on tap.
Yeah, it's very drinkable.
It is very drinkable. How much did the whole emergence of IPAs challenge Stout?
My goal was to make sessionable beers under 5% alcohol by volume, you know, so that people could drink 2 or 3 of them, not just one. And also I was looking, I mean, it's the beers I like to drink. I don't like to drink really strong beers all the time. And I also wanted to basically have beers that would be approachable to people who are drinking lighter beers like Yuengling drinkers, Bud, Miller, Coors.
But you still make it the occasional IPAs. You have to.
We made one hazy IPA. So, God, it was to please my salespeople because, you know, that's what they want. This is what the market wants. I said, well, I don't want to be. I'm not a trendsetter. And my daughter lives in New England, and the New England breweries are way past hazy IPAs. And I said, I don't live in New England.
Right, right. So
and these breweries that make all IPAs or all hazy beers,
right.
What's that about?
That's a good question. It's my biggest criticism of craft beer right now is I love the variety of beers that you used to see 20 years ago in craft brewing, where you could go into a bar and see with 20 taps and they might have 20 different styles of beer on.
That's how it should be.
Today, 15 of them are IPAs.
Yes.
So getting tap handles is a big issue.
It's ridiculous.
We're both getting old, Carol, I think. But, let me wrap up this first segment with a question then. We talked about the beginnings of the brewery.
Right.
When did you start thinking about the end of you at the brewery?
Well, my children had a party for me 2 years ago in Vermont, and it was lovely. Everyone came from all over the United States, and they said, okay, Mom, you're 69 years old. When are you going to stop? I said, well, when I find someone to take my place. And, well, what if no one takes your place? Then what are you going to do? I said, well, just please give me a little more time. Give me a month, 6 months. So, of course, I kept going. I was excited about starting canning. I was excited about making some new beers. I had a great crew. didn't want to stop. Well, then Christmas rolls around this year, and okay, now you're 70. Okay. I said, it will happen soon. It'll happen before my next birthday. So I just had to look at the calendar and pick a date.